Once your dough has chilled, you want to place it onto a well-floured surface. And then you're going to roll it out flat using a rolling pin to about a 1/4 inch thick. You don't want to make it too thin because then it's a little bit harder to remove and to place on your baking sheet. So make sure it's just right, not too thin, but also not too thick either. So now we're going to take our cookie cutters and just cut out your dough. Make sure you see what I'm doing there. I'm lightly tapping them into some flour before I begin to cut the dough, just so that it doesn't stick to my cookie cutter. Next, you want to take a really flat metal spatula, and then the quicker you do this part, the better. So just slide underneath the dough and then place your cookies onto a cookie sheet that has been fitted with a piece of parchment paper on top. Now once all your cookie dough has been placed into the cookie sheet, you want to take the remainder, like the scraps, make a little ball, form into a ball again. And this part is easier to put it onto a piece of parchment paper or else because it's already begin to soften, and when it's softened it's really hard to cut out or to basically remove to put on the parchment paper. So I basically just use the palm of my hands at this point to flatten it out, not even a rolling pin because it will probably stick to the rolling pin. So we're going to cut out here. I'm doing a star, and at this point it's easier to remove the excess dough, like go around the shape, and then you're left with, what you need to place on the cookie sheet, and it's much easier to do it this way. See? Once the edges of the cookies have turned slightly golden brown, just like this, they are ready to be pulled out. These are really easy to overcook, so make sure you watch it and make sure you don't burn it, basically. So I have here a couple of egg whites that I'm going to beat until they're frothy, and then I'm going to add in my powdered sugar about a cup at a time. You don't want to mix this all in at once because it will just be a total mess and be all in your face. So I'm going to stop the mixer one time, and then I'm going to clean off the sides just like that. And by the end of the 3rd cup or so, it should look like this. Actually, I ended up adding a little bit more water. That's the thing. You control the consistency. If it's a little bit too thick, you add a little bit more water. If it's not thick enough, you add more powdered sugar. It should be slightly, I can't even explain it. I'll show you what it should look like. It should be pipeable, but also not running off the side of your cookie while you're decorating. So you'll get to know the feel of it once the more you decorate. So not too thick, not too thin either. If you need to test it out, put it in a piping bag and then try to pipe it out and see if it runs off the cookie or not. Next, you will need some disposable piping bags, some gel food coloring. My favorite is AmeriColor, but I also have some Atco or Attico. I'm not sure how they say that. Obviously, you don't need all these if you're not an avid baker, but I just love them, so that's why I have them. Make sure you remove all air bubbles, push it all the way down, all the icing, and then place the bag on the counter and use your hand to basically push all that icing all the way down to the very tip here, just like that. Now you may begin outlining the cookie. For instance, this will be a snowflake. Now generally when you're outlining the cookie, it should be slightly thicker than when you're filling it in. When you're filling it in, or the correct term would be flooding, usually the filling or the icing for it should be slightly thinner, which is usually thinned out by adding a little bit of water, but I'm not going to go through the hassle of that. So now that I'm done doing my outline, I'm going to start flooding my cookie, which is basically, filling it in with the rest of the icing. And your best friend in all of this will be a toothpick. The toothpick will smooth out any harsh lines. It'll make everything smooth and come together better. And this will also dry to be matte. Now once I'm done with the flooding here, I'm going to set this aside and let it cool completely before beginning my next step. Now I'm going to start with more intricate designs. My decorating skills are very limited, so I'm just going to show you guys what I have, and then maybe you can get some ideas off of that. So I've also placed a pearl, I think they're called draggies. I don't know how to pronounce it actually. I bought it from a bakery online store or something like that. So anyways, I thought it'd be pretty to do like a light blue on the white. And I'm finishing it off here. I'm adding more details, kind of like V shapes or like that are sprouting out, just like that. And I'm going to continue on with the rest of it here and show you guys what it looks like. So here I have my little snowman here ready to, be decorated. It's kind of cold outside, so let's give him some red earmuffs. The weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. So I'm going to give him some earmuffs to keep him warm. I've already showed you previously how to do the outline and the flooding, so I'm not going to bother with that. Remember to let it cool completely. Every layer has to cool completely if you want it to be more defined and more detailed. If not, it'll kind of, it'll be a wet on wet, which I will show you later. So, giving him a little face here. Kind of chilly, so I'm going to give him a green scarf to match the holiday weather. Gosh, I'm starting to wonder if like anyone is even gonna attempt this cookie making. Took me a long time to do it, to tape it and edit. Because that just the other night I was watching a video, a couple of them actually that I know, I'm never gonna do. It's not cooking, but it was like this gorgeous girl painting her body and face blue to look like one of those blue people from Avatar. It's like, what the heck? Why am I watching this 10-minute video? It's like I've wasted 10 minutes of my life on something that I'm never even ever going to attempt, which is, my fault. But anyways, just thinking, talking to myself, is anyone really going to try this out? I hope you guys do. Spending a lot of time doing it, trying to film for you guys. But oh well, 'tis the season, so I thought I'd share my cooking making skills, or what I have of it at least. So I'm finishing up his scarf here. Pretty cute, isn't he? Nice and warm looking. I love it.